Hello and welcome to this taste challenge. I have two 40% alcohol Irish blended whiskeys. And here we go. This is Michael Collins, introduced in 2023. Not 2023. I'm thinking of something else. Sorry, my mind is vacant from them. 2006. 1921 was the Irish treaty that ended a war, but that's another subject. Michael Collins was killed in the follow-up war. He was killed in an ambush. Double distilled, no age statement, introduced in 2006. I'm thinking of 23 because I paid $23.99 for this bottle. $23.99 at International Market. There was my mental collapse. Okay. Here is the Busker, introduced in 2020, a bad year to introduce a product, honestly, because right when this came out in early 2020, all of their events, like promotional events at the bars and everything, were canceled due to some thing that you know about. So this never really caught on. It's still made. I guess it does have a little following. It's a shame because it might have really been popular, but hit the stores and then it hit, you know what it was. So this is triple cask, triple smooth. This is triple distilled Irish whiskey, no age statement, but we know it's aged in oak barrels, ex-bourbon oak barrels. If it's a bourbon barrel, it has to be oak, so it's really a redundant statement. It's also finished in ex-marsala and well, I'll show you the website, watch. Ex-sherry cask. So we got bourbon, I don't know, marsala, and sherry. Don't know who they're using. Could be different ones. May not really matter. I have a glass like that, actually. I have that exact type glass. It's one of 2024 World Whiskey Award Silver. World Spirits Competition, don't know what year. So it's simple, 40% alcohol, 80 proof, basic stuff. They use copper pot still. Of course, the main whiskey is going to be grain whiskey, column still. Then they're going to have copper pot still whiskey. Maybe using unmalted barley, I'm not sure. And then malted barley, single malt whiskey, as we call it, single. Now they're clever, like a lot of whiskey companies. They sell this one, and then have their single pot still. So they're taking a piece of the whole and selling it as a separate, more expensive product. They got the single grain and the single malt. So they're taking this complete product and they're breaking the pieces down and selling those as distinctive as a way. And you can see they updated the bottles. It's different than my bottle. Well, clever trick that a lot of distilleries do now. There's a distillery, County Carlow, Ireland. Unfortunately, they stopped giving tours. I guess it has something to do with the scamdemic, but they used to give tours, but they said we don't do it anymore. There's you can see it was set. It looks real pretty. It's not all industrial. Look at the landscaping. There's the casks out in the weather by the pond with the machinery. It's not a huge distillery, but yeah, I mean, it would have been a really nice. No, I'm not going to Ireland distillery tour, but I mean, it would be nice, if you were there. Kentucky's far enough for me. Okay. Yeah. So there it is. That's the main Royal Oak Distillery makes. Not the only product, but the main thing. Well, this isn't part two. This is a new challenge. This morning was different. That was something else. This is Michael Collins versus the Busker. And then it'll be the Busker single grain. I did buy a bottle of single grain. Not that I had any particular interest in that, but I'll explain why I bought that later. Let's see what the Busker's selling for, because I honestly do not know. Was I looking to buy this in 2021 or 22? No. I wasn't looking to buy it, but I went to Walmart, and sometimes if I go to Walmart, all they're selling now is the blended. Sometimes when I go to Walmart, I'll look at their liquor section and they'll have surprises. Usually, no, there's no surprises, same old stuff. But that day, they had a surprise for me. They had the Busker and the Busker single grain, both bottles $10 each. There it is. Total Wine and More, $43.99, which that's extremely high. That's what they're selling it for. And I think that was about the price at Walmart, but they sold it for $10 for both bottles, 10 each. I mean, when Walmart closes something out, they close it out. They basically give it away. So I said, $10. I knew nothing about the Busker. I might have heard of it before. I think I had seen it around, didn't care about it because I saw the price and I was like, keep shopping. But for $10, can't pass it up, So, but we got to go with the regular price. You can pay $43.99 for the Busker or $23.99 for Michael Collins. Now, is it going to really be $20 better? I definitely do not believe that it will be. Might be better, but it's not going to be $20 better, maybe $2 better. Right. I guess I meant the second time I've seen a live stream today. Oh, yeah. Well, like if I have a day off of work and I get ahead of everything, like get all my chores done and things such as that, then I could just start doing one after the other live. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm mostly caught up on my videos that I want to watch. Although I have a few. I have a couple left for this Outlaw Light, Mile High Light Beer. And some other guy that started doing video reviews. I'm not too sure if that's quality content or not yet, honestly. But I'm watching him. Looks like he's giving it effort. He's only 24 years old, but 25 years old, but he got some things to do to fix it, make it better. Okay, matured using 3 different casks. I already said that. So, is it unusual for an Irish whiskey to be triple distilled? Column still, copper pot still, single malt? No, it's normal. Now, is it a little unusual for it to be treated with 3 different woods? Maybe that's a little different. Now, I don't know if they're doing them separately or all together in each wood. Just they don't explain. Are they taking all 3 whiskeys, aging it in an ex-bourbon, then bringing it over into ex-marsala, and then bringing it over into sherry? Or are they doing one on each of the 3 and then bringing them together? I don't know. They're not that detailed. And perhaps they don't want to be that detailed. I bought myself a 24-ounce Corona Chilada Limon y Sal. That's a good choice. All right, so here we go. The one is lighter than the other, but I don't remember which is lighter, and that doesn't matter because I got tags at the bottom of the glasses to tell me which is which. So, and it's not that big of a difference in shade that I gotta close my eyes. I mean, if I glance, I'm not going to say, oh, it's darker, but I'm not going to stare at them either. Got some nice misting rain today. We needed rain. And I hope it comes back, but that's a good kind of rain. It goes on for about an hour, just soaks the ground like a sprinkler. Okay, I was reluctant to get it because it's quite low ABV. Well, that's all right. Everything doesn't have to be high alcohol. These are only 40% whiskeys, which some people look down on. They will never buy a whiskey if it's only 40% alcohol. They're like, I don't drink that type of ordinary, regular people whiskey. I'm too fancy. Fine. It's your money. You could be as fancy as you want to be. Oh, can't you? Of course. Of course, you don't have to go around telling everybody how fancy you are, No, I mean, but you can if you want, I guess. Smells sort of regular. It's kind of unusual. That smell like peach. They don't have any peaches in them. I don't know why I picked up that note. So aroma, I'm not sure. Really, aroma's got me a little perplexed. But let's see. mild bread crust. The white part of the bread, white bread, like say sourly. But I don't know. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe that's the Busker. Now that bread flavor is going to come from single malt whiskey. You drink these unless they're those like real smoky scotches, they'll make a bread flavor. They'll display a bread flavor. I got this hair coming out my nose. It looks bad. When people get older, they get very hairy. Like their ears get hair, their nose, their eyebrows. You might tell me you're getting old. Well, we're all getting old. A 2-year-old is getting old. They're just behind you because they were born 2 years ago, and maybe you were born 62 years ago. I knew people when I was a little kid that was born in 1889 and 1891. Okay. And when I was a little kid, they were old. We went to their house to eat supper. They were old people in their 80s. But they weren't with a walker. They weren't walking around with a walker. They were walking around, eating dinner and sitting in the living room talking. So when I was a little kid, old people were born in the 1880s and 1890s. And they would talk about, oh, I remember it back in the 1890s. And they would talk about things. And it didn't seem like it was that long ago, like you would think. But that must have been interesting. They would talk about when people started driving cars and all of this. And those were more like little shopping carts with a motor, right? They weren't with no safety features. But and I can remember the old lady. I said, well, you must have been living in this house a long time. Now, I'm thinking from my perspective, you must have been living in this house a long time. She said, oh, no, we didn't move here till 1918. We didn't move here until 1918. Like we just been here since 19. I'm thinking like, well, to me that seemed like ancient history, but to her that was like, oh, that's the new place. So it's funny how perspective can affect. Now these are brand new whiskeys in the whiskey world. 2006 and 2020 is like it just came out last week. All right, in the world of whiskey, that came out last week. It's like beer. You say, oh, that beer's so old. It's been around since 1980. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Well, that's new. In the world of beer, that's like it came out a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago. Time flies. So in the world of whiskey or beer, old is like Paulaner from 1634 or Weihenstephaner from 1040, AD 1040, not 1980. All right. That's basically like new. So you say, what about something from 10 years ago? That's like really new. But it's a changing thing. It's dynamic. It's a dynamic market. So things are always changing faster than you can think about it. Same thing with whiskey, beer, wine, politics. See, it's ahead. It's ahead of you. Generally. Okay. Burley Sullivan says, you. Hey, cheers back to you. This one seems to have a bolder flavor, which is telling me what? Michael Collins. It's making me curious to try that prediction. But I don't need any Irish whiskey. I never even opened my proper 12 yet. Apparently, that's like a very controversial whiskey. Some people say it's trash, garbage, filth. Other people say, "Oh, don't listen to them. That stuff's good, man." I really can't tell you because I've never had it. I've never tried it. I've never sipped on any at anybody's house. I've heard about it since they hit the market years ago. Controversy, as they say in Great Britain. Uh, I paid the full price. Didn't get some super deal on it like I did with the Buskers. With it's $10, normally 46.99. So, but I wanted to try. I said I got to try proper 12 because I'm doing these whiskey taste challenges and I'm doing Irish whiskey. It would be a disservice to myself and to the viewers not to try proper 12. So I did buy it. And like I say, no kind of deal, just bought it. And I'm really looking forward to it, especially with all the controversy. When you hear these wild opinions, like one side it's 100 out of 100, and the other side it's a -0, it's a -10 out of 100. Not a zero, it's a -10 out of 100. I'm thinking, well, I don't know. It can't be as great as people are saying, and it definitely can't be as horrible as others claim. And now they got the proper 12, what, orange flavor or apple flavor? Apple, yes, which I definitely have no interest in. Not to mention, I have no interest in any other liqueurs either. You say, well, why do you review them? I don't know. Just they're interesting to review, but I don't have any interest in them. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like if I never had another liqueur, I wouldn't care. But they do exist and they're out there. And when I do kind of force myself to try one, I will have to admit to myself, it is interesting. I mean, it's not a sin that it has licorice flavor. You see, in my thinking, like, no, it should be pure vodka. It should be pure bourbon. It should be pure Irish whiskey. But then on the other hand, on the open-minded side of my brain, I'm thinking, it's not really hurting anything because they're using orange peel in it or orange pulp or whatever. I mean, it's not like that big of a deal. I don't have to buy it. No one forced it on me. They even had one that was barbecue flavored whiskey. And I'll tell you what, it did taste like barbecue sauce. It tasted like the meat after it was barbecued. It even tastes like the grease was in it. It was bizarre. And it had a good flavor, but you wouldn't want to drink it often, obviously. But it was remarkable. Okay, I got to think about this. Okay, all right, moving on. Man. This got me mixed up. But maybe I'm confused because see they're finishing that thing in Marsala casks. And Marsala is a strange tasting product right there. Sherry, I mean, nothing else tastes like sherry wine. That's a whole different animal. And the bourbon. So why they had to do this to me? I'm thinking, I wish I had more to sip, but now it's too late. I'm thinking that maybe that one over there had some little peatiness, but only a wisp of it. I would not call it a peaty whiskey, but it was like some little glimmer of it. So I guess this is the Michael Collins. It is. Oh, I'm glad I used that. I'm glad I utilized that clue. Now this one is complex. And the Marsala and the sherry casks. I'm not getting any younger, but it's okay. It is okay because there ain't nothing you can do about it. But you should think about it. But and the bourbon. So this is a complex product. It's certainly not thrown together with no care. It's very carefully produced. On the other hand, I don't know about $46.99. And I'm gonna just be honest with you, people watching. I'll just be honest. I'm not gonna lie. Would I have ever purchased it for $46.99? I don't think so. Not when there's 20 other Irish whiskeys I can get for $28.99. That are probably very nice. I don't know. I never had them. Couldn't say. Never had Powers. Plan on it. But you see, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I would have bought it, because I wouldn't have. But when Walmart offered it for $10, common sense tells you I snapped it right up. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I would have bought Hornitos Cristalino. Hornitos Cristalino is like $39, $40. I probably would have just passed it up and said to myself something like, one day I might try it. But, realistically, you're never going to get to it. And why are you putting it off? Of course, you're putting it off because you don't want to pay the price. But when Walmart had it for $10, I couldn't even understand what I was looking at. I kept looking at the tag like it was a mistake. And I want to make sure, because, sometimes they'll put the wrong thing in front of the tag. I was like, Hornitos Cristalino. Check the UPC. I said, that matches. That's the product. I said, $10. So obviously I bought it. Still hadn't opened it up. And I was talking to this lady at work. I said, man, they got Hornitos Cristalino for $10. This is not a cheap product. They got it for $10 at Walmart. I can't explain it. I don't know what's going on over there. I said they had one bottle left when I was out of it. Or maybe it was 2 bottles. I don't know. It was hardly anything. She said, I'm going over there as soon as I get off of work, and I'm going to see. She said, probably it'll be gone by the time I get there, but I'm going to check. I said, yeah, probably be gone. She went over there. They had one bottle left. It was pushed way to the back. Maybe people didn't see it. She said she bought it. She said, now it might be 12 years before I get to it. She said, but I couldn't pass it up. I said, who in their right mind would? So, of course, I bought it. Now, so I got this right. So I haven't lost yet. Now, final assessment. Which product's better? I'm going to say, I don't know which is better. They both taste fine. I mean, honestly, they're even. They're both really nice. But obviously, this is the winner because it's $23.99 and this is $46.99. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather get a whiskey for $23.99 versus $46.99, especially when the cheaper one tastes just as good, right? Makes sense, right? Yeah, it's all relative. The sun will keep burning for quite some time. Exactly. And the Bible talks about that. The Holy Bible talks about that, that everything's relative. Like you thinking, oh, it's 1,000 years. It's so long. Which for you it is, because your life is, 120 years if you're on the high side. The Bible also talks about that. But the Bible said, but in God's eyes, 1,000 years is like a day. That's like a day. A day went by. You say, well, nobody cares about a day. Right. See, it's a perspective issue. You thinking, oh, Charlemagne was crowned Holy Roman Emperor, the Emperor of the Romans by the Pope in 800 AD 800. That's almost 2,000. That's over 1,000 years ago. Not 2,000. Over 1,000 years ago. But in the eyes of God, that was like yesterday afternoon, or Tuesday afternoon. So you see, it's perspective. You say, well, if you could live forever, let's say you live forever, you wouldn't be wasting any time, right? There wouldn't be such a thing as wasting time because there would be no time. You could waste 1 billion years and you're just getting started. So, but of course, we live within time. We live inside of time. So we can waste it. We don't live out of time yet. That's why you notice my videos, I almost never make them time related. You ever notice that? Like my friend David will say, let's make a Halloween video. I say, no. I said, because, or he'll say, let's make Christmas theme. I say, no, because somebody might be watching the video 12 years from now on July 4th, and it would have no relevance to them. I want the videos to exist out of time. Meaning they're not connected to an event, they're just connected to the product. You say, yeah, but the labels change and the recipe might change. That's true, I cannot control that. But I want to control it as best as possible. I can't control it to change the label. But that's why you'll notice I never do theme videos. Most other people, they'll do the advent calendar and all of this, but I'm not against it. I just don't do it because I wanted each video to exist out of time. So like I made the Budweiser video in November 2010, right? My first video ever. Budweiser. So I wanted that to exist out of time where you could watch it now. Here we are now, 14 years later, and it would have relevance because it's not like, it's connected to an event. It's just existing as its own centerpiece, Budweiser, and then when we talk about it. And I don't like people that make, well, I mean, I might like the person. I don't like the videos when they're like busy. I saw this yesterday. I turned it off. I was like, I'm not watching this. We're going to try to taste. We're going to do a blind taste test. Good idea. Of 6 different beers. Bad idea. Unless you did 6 different videos. We're going to do, what did I say? 6 different beers. Sorry. We're going to do a blind taste test. And I thought, good idea. Of 6 different beers in one video that lasted about 14 minutes. Terrible idea. I started watching that. It was so convoluted. The 2 people are talking about, this tastes like that. This tastes like that. This tastes like that. That tastes like that. This tastes like that. This tastes like that. This tastes like that. This tastes like that. I'll say this video makes no sense. There's 2 people. That's variables. 2 people, different taste preferences. Now you got 6 different beers. I said, now I don't know what the rush is about. They could have done 6 different videos, blind taste test, no problem there. Actually, a better way to do it. So I thought, nah, this video makes no sense, and I cut it off in the middle because it was just like I just like dramatized. That's what the video was like watching. This tastes like this. This tastes like that. This tastes like this. This tastes like that. This thing. All of that. It's like nobody does that. Nobody writes. I'm gonna review 14 movies in one article. They don't do that. No. They write a movie review, publish it. They write another movie review, then they publish it. They write a third movie review and they publish it. Now they might reference other movies for like a reference point, obviously. But you see, nobody would read the article if, so you get the point. I try to help the people make the better videos. It's not attacking them. I have a bottle of Pinot Grigio from Barefoot Cooling Down. Very popular product. Yeah, I can stomach Southern Comfort. It's just the whiskeys aren't my preference. Well, like I always say, people may as well drink whatever they prefer, right? There's no good and bad. There's no good or bad. Because a beverage is a neutral object. Whiskey, all right? For instance, right now, whiskey, I got whiskey, right? It's neither good or bad. It's morally neutral. It's morally neutral. Whiskey is not a good thing or a bad thing. It's a product. It's a consumer product. You say, yeah, but I drank half the bottle and I got drunk. Well, see, that wasn't the whiskey's fault. That was your fault. See, your behavior affected the morality of it. The product was not designed to get you drunk. It was designed for sipping, tasting, analyzing, enjoying, and so forth. No, you chose to do that part. It's how you utilize the product. Now, the morality assessment comes in with how you're utilizing the product, right? Like some people will say a gun is evil. It's a gun. It's an object. Well, it's not evil. It's a gun. It could be used for evil purposes, but it's a morally neutral product. It can also save your life. All right. So this, you say, oh, I didn't come to watch this video because for some philosophical evaluation. I know that. I'm just thinking about it. All right. Well, y'all take care. The winner, I'm going to give the win to Michael Collins. It costs a plenty amount less. It's plenty cheaper, or a lot, well, however you express that. I'm not a master of the English language. It's a lot cheaper. Yeah, it's a better way to say it. It's a lot cheaper, and it tastes just as good. So there you go. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye, and have a nice Thursday, and so forth.